Good morning, everyone. It is so good to be with all of you this morning, both in person and virtually on this chilly December day. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Nashville. My name is Danielle Garrett. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm serving as your student minister this year. Whoever you are, whatever road has led you here this morning, and whatever medium you are using to join us for worship today, know that you are welcome here. If you're joining us via Zoom, I invite you to turn on your cameras, put Zoom in gallery mode, and wave hello to each other and to all of the folks in the sanctuary. We have the screen here behind us so that we can see all of you. Folks, if you want to wave to everyone on Zoom, the camera's behind us. Good morning. And I'd like to extend a special welcome to anyone this morning who is visiting for the first time. If you are seeking a spiritual home, we hope that you might find it here. Find helpful resources and more information about our congregation by visiting our website at firstuunash.org. You can also come say hi to me after service or reach out via email. My email address is studentmin, M-I-N, @thefun.org for more information about the congregation. We're delighted to welcome Rachel Rogers this morning as our worship leader, but before we begin, I have just a couple of announcements and housekeeping notes. First, thanks to all of you for wearing masks and making every effort to social distance. This is an opportunity for us to care for ourselves and each other by practicing what it means to be part of a covenantal community. So I invite you all to use clear communication and practice enthusiastic consent before you go in for a hug or slide close to someone in the pew next to you. The speakers will be removing their mask when speaking, but remaining masked at other times in the sanctuary. And second, we will be sharing joys and concerns this morning, but that portion of the service will not be broadcast via Facebook or YouTube in order to preserve a sense of intimacy as we share these tender moments of our lives with each other. On Sunday mornings, we bring our whole selves, our many names for the divine, and our diverse spiritual paths and join together in worship. We're so glad you joined us this morning. May this time together refresh our spirits and renew our commitment to justice.
Good morning. My name is Elaine Bailey, and my pronouns are she, her, and I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join me in singing hymn number 346. I know you don't need the hymnal for this, and the words are up there anyway. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you hope where hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll sing a hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. you. You may be seated.
Good morning. Oh, it's so good to be here, guys. I'm sorry. So happy. My name is Rachel Rogers. My pronouns are she and they. I'm a member of this congregation and an aspirant to Unitarian Universalist ministry. It is my great joy to be with you in worship this morning. Our call to worship was written by Sherry Woodbury. Welcome, who come in friendship, who long for genuine community. May you be graciously received here as your authentic self. Welcome, who come in curiosity, full of questions or simply open. May you embrace wonder and encounter new delights. Welcome, who come heavy with fatigue, weary from the troubles of the world or the troubles of your particular life. May you rest and be filled in this sacred space. Welcome, who come with joy, for flowing rivers and gentle breeze, for changing skies and great trees. May the grace of the world leave a lasting imprint in you. Welcome, who come with thanks for the altruism of the earth and the gift of human care. May your grateful heart overflow and bless those around you. Come, let us celebrate together this wondrous life.
The words for the chalice lighting were written by Julianne Lepp. We seek our place in the world and the answers to our heart's deep questions. As we seek, may our hearts be open to unexpected answers. May the light of our chalice remind us that this is a community of warmth, of wisdom, and welcoming of multiple truths. Good morning. I'm Gail Spar, Worship Associate this morning. My pronouns are she and her. Our story today was written by our worship leader, Rachel. And this is the story of Myrtle and three sisters who took a walk with her. Now, in Boston, Massachusetts, in the New England Aquarium, there is a 4-story tall exhibit called the Giant Ocean Tank. The glass tank is 40 feet wide and holds 200,000 gallons of water. In fact, the tank is so big that it was built first and then the rest of the aquarium was built around it. Now, inside the tank, there are about 1,000 different animals across dozens of species, including eels, barracudas, and hundreds of colorful reef fishes. These aquatic animals spend much of their time at different depths of the tank, each adapted to differing light and water pressure levels. The oldest inhabitant of the tank has been there since 1970. That's over 50 years. And today is about 90 years old. Her name is Myrtle, and she is a 500-pound giant sea turtle. Now, one day, several years ago, 3 sisters visited the tank. Now, the oldest sister had moved to Boston recently for college, and her 2 younger siblings had come up to the city to visit her. They were all excited about being out on their own in the world and to explore a new city. Well, one of the sites that they went to was the aquarium, and it turned out to be the highlight of their trip. Now, a ramp winds up and around the Giant Ocean Tank exhibit so that visitors can observe the animals living at each level. Now, when the sisters got there and started their tour of the tank, they saw at the very bottom level multicolored fishes of all sizes and varieties. And almost as soon as they started their trek up that ramp, they spotted Myrtle. The sisters were giddy with excitement and awe over her large 500-pound presence. Her wide, dark eyes blinked as she swam steadily and slowly on the other side of the glass. Now, as the girls proceeded up the ramp, Myrtle swam just about right alongside them, keeping pace with them as they made their way. Was this a coincidence? Maybe even a miracle? Every once in a while, the girls would pause on their walk, getting drawn in by the beauty of other sea life swimming past them. And every time, though, Myrtle stayed close. The sisters took their time making their way up the corkscrew ramp to the top of the 4 stories. Soon, the entire experience came to be about Myrtle, about the fact that she seemed to be strolling with them, about the fact that they'd started their journey at just the right moment to spend time with her. And as they made their way from the top to the bottom to the top through the differing depths of the water, they seemed to experience an entire world with Myrtle. When they finally got to the top of the tank, they were able to look down in the open water. And then, just like that, Myrtle's head popped out from the surface. She let out a satisfied gasp, filled her old lungs with her next gulp of oxygen, and resubmerged. They saw her above the water for maybe a single second, and it was magic. In the years that followed, the sisters never forgot about Myrtle. They talked about her every once in a while and how amazing their time with her had felt. They were amazed to have encountered such a creature. They were amazed by how time had seemed to stop and how the big old turtle had been their guide to an entirely different world under the surface of the water. They were amazed by how they had taken that journey and by the gift of Myrtle's great big gasp for air. They would remember it always. And so ends our story.
Good morning. I'm the Reverend Diane Dalgert, and my pronouns are she and her. Today, we're taking a brief moment to acknowledge that Jay Tiefenbrunn is leaving her position as Director of Music Ministries at the end of this month. It has been a privilege and a pleasure for me to work with Jay for these past 21 months. In her 4.5 years of service, she has touched so many lives with her music and her presence. From her skill as a choral director, to her beautiful voice, to her ability to navigate the technical challenges of making music in virtual spaces, she has served this congregation well. It is with deep gratitude that we say a fond farewell to Jay.
Good morning. I'm Mike Bowles, President of the Board of Directors. My pronouns are he, him. When the church first hired Jay, we thought we were getting someone with a beautiful voice, knowledge of the UU musical canon, and a UU point of view. As it turns out, we were right. But we also got someone with flexibility, lots of energy, and IT capabilities that turned out to be invaluable when the pandemic hit. Jay was able to quickly learn audio and video editing that allowed us to continue enjoying choral music in our services. She has also given us historical information and cultural context for the music we have listened to in our services. For me, this has added a new level of meaning to the works. For these contributions and all the others she has made during her work here, the board has voted to give her a $1,000 check as a token of our appreciation.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the board and to you, Mike and Reverend Diane. It has been a pleasure and an honor to work with this congregation and to experience music ministry in this deep way. Thank you so very much.
At this time, we will receive our offering. You may know that we share every Sunday's collection with an organization whose work outside our walls aligns with our values. Our Share the Plate partner for the month of December is Nashville Diaper Connection. They strive to make sure that every baby has enough diapers to stay clean, dry, and healthy. You can find a link for more information on our worship portal at firstuunash.org, where you can also find a link to our online donation form. For those with us in the sanctuary, the offering bowls have been placed in the back of the sanctuary. Please feel free to place your offering in one of the bowls during the offertory or at any point in the service. As always, your gifts, like your presence among us, are received with gratitude. At this time, I invite you to take a deep breath, to settle yourself in your seat, wherever that may be, and to find yourself more fully present in this physical and virtual space. Feel yourself more deeply connected to this moment, to the people present with you, to yourself. As you become more present, you may find yourself aware of whatever it is you carry with you. Each of us brings into this moment our own collection of experiences, our own individual worries, stressors, grief, hope, gratitude, and joy. At this time, if you wish to bring your joy or concern into fuller presence, you may do so here in the sanctuary by placing a stone into this bowl of water. You'll find the basket just next to it. If you wish for your joy or concern to be read aloud, please write it down on one of the yellow slips of paper in the pew in front of you, and hand it to me when you place your stone. For those of you worshiping with us online, please use the link shared in the Zoom chat to submit your joys and concerns. Our lay minister, Lisa Pasto Crosby, will read what is shared online with the congregation. Thank you. May we hold this concern and this sorrow and all those that lay unspoken in our hearts in the spirit of prayer with these words by Marta M. Flanagan. Spirit of life and love, known by many names, Creator, Sustainer, Redeemer, you make your presence known to us in the sunshine of winter, in the dance of the flame, and in the lingering embrace of a trusted one. Fill us this day with your warmth, your power, your strength. Help us to see our lives with a freshness born of the Spirit. Lift up the blessings, the loved ones, the ones we treasure for simply being themselves, the ones we laugh with, the ones who teach us to trust ourselves. Hold close the ones who are ill on this day, those who feel the discouragement of the body. Fill them and us with courage, with peace. Spirit, release us from our burdens. We bring the memories of the past, times when we fell short, times when we were hurt. We have fear, worries of what will be and how we will make do. We get carried away with small concerns, the daily issues that press upon us. Help us to let go. Free us from inner bonds. Gracious Spirit, grab our attention. Seize us with the brightness of the day, with the miracles of life itself, that we may be filled with new passion, new resolve, heeding your quiet call to take the next step. May it be so, and amen.
Please rise in body or in spirit and join me in singing hymn number 1003. So this is one of the ones that we can sing in a round. Where do we come from? And I just asked Gail Spar a second ago if she would lead the first part of the round, which is right over here. So what we're going to do is sing it one time through all together, and then we'll sing it 2 times through in a round with this group going first. All right. It sounds really hard, but you know what to do. We've done this a million times, right? Here we go. And everyone sing. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do Thank you. You may be seated.
Our reading this morning comes from Kate R. Walker, and it's entitled In Between. In between, liminal, that space where we wait. Between moments, events, results, action, no action. To stand on the threshold waiting for something to end and something new to arrive, a pause in the rumble of time. Awareness claims us, alert, a shadow of something different. In between invitation and acceptance, in between symptom and diagnosis, in between send and receipt of inquiry and question, in between love given and love received. Liminality, a letting go, entering into confusion, ambiguity, and disorientation. A ritual begun. Pause. Look back at what once was. Look forward into what becomes. Identity sheds a layer, reaches into something uncomfortable to wear. In between lighting of the match and the kindling of oil. In between choosing of text and the reading of words. In between voices and notes carried through the air into ears to hear. In between, creation thrusts ever forward. Social hierarchies may dissemble and structures may fall. Communities may revolt or tempt trust. Tradition may falter or creativity crashes forward. Leaders may step down or take charge. The people may choose or refuse. In between, storm predicted, the horizon beacons. In between, theology of process reminds us to step back. In between, where minutiae and galaxies intermingle with microbes and mysteries. In between, liminal, that space where we wait. Look, listen, feel, breathe. Here ends the reading.
I'll say good morning to you again. Good morning. Again, I'm so happy to be with you here in person. I feel like I have come home after a very long time away. So thank you for having me with you today. During our time for all ages, Gail shared a story with us that she mentioned that I wrote. So those three sisters who had that encounter with a giant sea turtle, that was my older sister, Ashley, my younger sister, Katie, and me. Our visit to the aquarium happened over 20 years ago, soon after my oldest sister had gotten married. She was only 20, I was 18 at the time, and my little sister was 16. So us being alone in a city that wasn't Nashville was like a really big deal. We were really excited to be let loose. Kind of crazy thinking back that like the biggest thing we got into was going to the aquarium, but that's what happened. It's true that during the many years that followed, I have thought about that experience so often. We actually talk about it at least once a year. We talk about Myrtle and her slow ascent to the surface, and about how time seemed to stop when she came up for air. Most of the time, the memory is about the wonder of that experience, the glee my sisters and I felt being out in the world, making a memory that was just ours. But I also think about Myrtle in harder moments, at times where I feel myself desperately needing to come up for air, where the demands of life perhaps have me spent, or during periods where I feel like that swim to the surface is taking too long. Like the chance to breathe in deep and slow is maybe just too far off. At times like those, when life is hectic and when checking in with myself starts to feel like a luxury, or when I don't do the best job of paying attention, I have found more than once that while I'm not taking the time to go deep with myself, I'll start to get the sense, even so, that something is brewing. While I blaze through my life and move from one appointment on my calendar to the next, whether I like it or not, there's always something happening for me subconsciously that will eventually start to pull and tug and start asking me to pay attention. I start to realize that I am living in that in-between space, in a time of not knowing what is coming. Whether it's something I'm about to learn or a process of healing I'm about to undertake, I just don't know, and it's an uncomfortable place to be. For me, it can even be a bit scary. It can feel like the other shoe is going to drop, even if I'm not sure where the first shoe landed. I'm often at odds with myself during these times because I'm sure, like many of you, something else to know about me is that I like to have all the information. I do not like to be surprised, and wouldn't you know it, I'm happier when I feel like I'm in control. So, when I start to feel that sense of being in liminal space, of being in struggle but not being able to actually articulate or identify the struggle, of knowing that something needs to change but not being sure just what, if I don't watch it, it can become entirely too important to me that I start to figure things out with some sense of absolutism. Now, this incessant need that I struggle with, this need to figure things out, has more than once landed me in a state of almost desperation with myself. If I'm struggling, feeling anxious or depressed or stuck under a cloud of some kind, and the reason for my state isn't clear to me, I will become frustrated. And worse, I'll become judgmental of my own mental state. Because if I can't name what's wrong, then how can I fix it? And if I can't fix it right now, then does that mean I just have to continue to suffer so I can become fraught? It actually doesn't take me very long. Several years ago, in a period that felt intensely rife with stress and this frantic sense of something is wrong, I sat in the office of one of my mentors and lamented at my state. I had been, as I already named, panicky, anxious, helpless even, for weeks. However, nothing had happened to me that would cause these feelings. I felt like something needed fixing, but I didn't know what, and the lack of knowing was even starting to bring about shame. My trusted mentor listened to me and affirmed and validated my frustrations. And then she offered up to me this other option that never would have naturally occurred to me. She asked me if I really needed to know what was happening under the surface. What if whatever problem my subconscious was trying to solve was actually none of my business at this moment? What if I chose to trust that whatever was shifting, changing, or asking to be healed would reveal itself when the time was right? I remember having no immediate answer to these questions because it had literally never occurred to me. And if I didn't consciously know what was happening in my spirit, that I was still doing work. She was asking me to get comfortable with the mystery, with the not knowing. This concept for me was revolutionary. We are currently deep in the season of Advent, the Christian liturgical season of waiting and preparing for the mystery of Christ's birth on Christmas Day. We're just a few days away from winter solstice, when the earth will start to suddenly be filled with more light day by day. And even with the unseasonably warm weather we've experienced off and on these last days, so much of the natural world is lying in wait, storing energy for a season to come. The pandemic, once again, has us in a state of rapt anticipation, as so many of us scroll through the news on our phone, desperately waiting for information on the latest variant, the latest infection rate. For months upon months, we have been in some stage of limbo. We have been waiting, anticipating some new future that we can't possibly imagine. Our minds and our spirits can take on a similar landscape to our world when we are in this period of figuring things out, when we are feeling our edges grow or the ground shifting beneath our feet. For me, Since that moment of grace years ago where I started to explore and work on, try to, maybe not quite there yet, let go of the notion that I had to figure things out as quickly as possible. I've often tried a different tactic when I realize that I'm entering into one of those seasons where something is brewing. I try, as hard as it is, to get comfortable with that liminal space and that notion of being in between the not knowing and the knowing. I try, when it makes sense for me, to relinquish some sense of control. I work to pay attention to my feelings, my thoughts, my fears, my struggles, to all of it, but I also try to let myself off the hook and recognize that I'm clearly trying to figure something out. So I sit in my own season of Advent, and I wait with patience and even gratitude that a change or a new knowing will indeed come, even if I don't force its hand. I try to trust that even if I can't articulate what's going on for me, that deep within me are the resources to figure it all out. I trust that my subconscious and my loving spirit will know when the time has come for the puzzle pieces to click into place. Often, and actually for as long as I can remember, since I was a child, I have these moments while I'm out in the world where I will suddenly find myself in awe, over and over again, at the vastness of human experiences all around me. I'll glance at a face in the car next to me at the stoplight and almost inevitably enter this inner monologue where I remind myself that this stranger that I know nothing about and most likely will never see again in my life has a life experience as vast and as intricate as my own. Does anyone else ever do this, or is this just me? I see a stranger and I think, you know what? They've got an entire world that I know nothing about, just as huge as mine is. I mean, this may seem simple to call out. I think it's I hope it's a fairly universal experience, but it can be overwhelming if you try to pay attention to it. Every single person, every single one of us in this room, every single person you ever encounter, all of us are consciously or subconsciously in this process of learning, untangling, healing, growing. All of us are in the middle of our own search for truth and meaning. So many of us are wrestling with our own versions of in between. How complicated it all is, how awe-inspiring. We all know the adage, be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. Yes, we should always be kind, but also I hope that we're doing something other than, or maybe simply something more than fighting a battle. We are all in the midst of our own mystery, our own becoming. The moments when I'm able to fully embrace this knowing of our vast complications and depth of experience, I feel like I have been given the most wondrous gift. I look at each and every one of you now, and I stand in awe of all of you that you are undoubtedly learning and unlearning, of all that you know and all that your subconscious is working to reveal. So how does this all tie together? Our inner subconscious and this vastness among us. Well, my hope is that in hearing this, you'll walk away with a few things. One, if you haven't yet, I hope you might find the ability to also let yourself off the hook when you can't seem to figure yourself out. I hope that just as I'm sure you often do with those around you, you'll assume your spirit and heart's and mind's own best intentions. I hope that in moments of suffering that enter your life, you'll have compassion for yourself if that suffering confuses you. And I hope you'll find some faith in the fact that even if it's an unknown part of yourself, you have the ability to work through this next thing and the next. I also hope you'll take with you at least some small sense of wonder during this season where days are short and so much of the natural world seems to be lying in wait, that we too have our own seasons of growth, change, and then rest, and that all are necessary. And that each and every one of us, while inextricably connected, contains a vastness that is awe-inspiring. May we honor that in each other. I pray that even in seasons of struggle and uncertainty, that we may all continue to listen to those small voices rising up from underneath the surface, just like Myrtle swimming to the top of the tank. Those voices that whisper to us to pay attention, and that we won't put undue pressure on ourselves, that we'll find patience and love for ourselves just as those around us. We are all infinite, I believe. We can never truly know our own depths. And that, to me, is a miracle. May it be so.
Thank you, Rachel. Please rise in body or in spirit and join me in singing hymn number 409. We're going to sing verses 1 and 3 of Sleep, My Child. Hang on, I forgot my reading glasses. Thank you, Holly. Okay, here we go. Sleep, my child, and peace attend you all through the night. I who love you shall be near you all through the night. Soft the drowsy hours are creeping, ill and veil in slumber sleeping. I my loving vigil keeping all through the night. Number 3. While the moon her watch is keeping all through the night, while one half the world is sleeping all through the night, even while the sun comes stealing, visions of the day revealing, breeze of pure and holy feeling all through the night. Thank you. Remain standing.
The words to our chalice extinguishing appear on the screen. Won't you join me? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
The words to our benediction were written by Mark Mosher DeWolf. In your life, may you know the holy meaning, the mystery that breaks into every moment. May you live at peace with your world and at peace with yourself. And may the love of truth guide you in your every day. May it be so. This service is over. May our service begin again, renewed.